Few managers or leaders will question the wisdom of consulting and involving people in the operation and the running of a company. Equally, few managers understand the real wisdom and value of doing so, and even fewer manage and lead in this way. There's great ambiguity and confusion both around the value of involving people in decision making and in how to practically do that. Part of the problem is the fear that differences will arise. And so it will seem more prudent to keep Pandora's box, if not tightly closed, then only opened with great caution on occasion. We don't know how to handle differences. Do we decide to argue and fight them out until there's one prevailing view left standing? Or do we expect them to arise, but see and treat them merely as opinions, narratives, and take decisions without taking them too much into account? The model of the blind men around the elephant is saying something different and proposing a very different way of handling differences. It's saying that not only will differences arise, but it is inevitable that they arise, and that it is enormously helpful that they do arise. Truth is elusive, and the search for it is ongoing and endless. But the more versions of truth of what is happening we have, the much greater will be the possibility and probability of arriving at something really worthwhile, really true. Yes, this is challenging. It's challenging for the individual participants to hear and respect a very different version of reality from their own. Others' views just seem wrong. It's also challenging for the leader, but there are few more rewarding and more important roles for a leader to play than this one of facilitating people to share their different perspectives in the confident belief that a greater overall truth will emerge. This calls for great insight, considerable skills, and a lot of courage. The leader has to go through and take on board the confusion and the angst in the group when this sharing of apparently contradictory versions is happening. And they have to stay in touch with their own lostness and even doubts that the greater truth will emerge. But it will. It always does. Once the leader holds on to their conviction that the truth, a greater and real truth, is there to be found and will emerge. This is a very different worldview and paradigm from the traditional tactics of arbitrary decision making, clever manipulation, or cowardly voting. Instead, it is based on a belief and a love of real truth and the possibility of finding it. This is not always obvious. Very often, what is invisible is most powerful. We have so many modern examples like music, text messages, and information of all kinds that are invisible and seem to appear out of nowhere. We see tides come in and out, drawn by the invisible force of the moon. We see enormous electrical power unleashed from the invisible energy between two poles. Something similar, a very similar power, is developed when we work in this new paradigm way and when the leader operates in this creative and facilitative role. When they work in this way with groups, an enormously powerful change takes place before their very eyes. The group of individuals become something new, a new entity, a new personality, and a whole new intelligence. Yes, they look the same, and they look as if they are still 6, 8, or 10 separate individuals, but they are not. They have become something else, something new. Managers and coaches of sports teams know that it is just this invisible transformation of 5, 11, or 15 individuals into a team that will make them great. Conductors of orchestras know that their job is to combine and transform individual musicians into something completely different, capable of bringing off what the individual musicians left on their own could never do. The manager or leader achieves this miracle by sharing an exciting goal, challenge, or vision that is truly meaningful and beautiful, that will engage people and help them to forsake their individual focus for a focus on something greater, which will bring them even greater benefits and satisfaction. And like the power of electricity we touched on earlier, this power cannot be stored. It has to be created constantly, and people reminded of the truth that they're part of something greater, something that fulfills their needs and wishes in a way that their individual focus could never do. This is the wonderful power available to every leader when they see their role as being that of a creative or facilitative leader.